Be of good cheer. The daily what ifs are here. Well, good evening, folks. Good morning and good night. And welcome everybody back to the Daily What Ifs channel. I'm just kidding, the Visual Disturbance channel. Welcome everybody back to the Daily What Ifs show. We are so glad to be back here today, here on this late impromptu broadcast, which I usually don't do a daily What Ifs so late. So join me tonight, folks. If you're from other parts of the world, other parts of the country, welcome. We're at 11 p.m. Eastern time on this side of the world when it comes to the bluegrass state of Kentucky. So welcome everybody with open arms. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Welcome to the Visual Disturbance channel. I'm your host. The Daily What Ifs are here. Let's be of good cheer. So thank y'all so very much. And the question I have for you guys tonight, isn't it crazy out there in our world? How crazy and how much more bizarre can our reality? What else? What else is going to happen? So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Hit that like button, show this thing out. Thank y'all for being part of the Visual Disturbance channel. And let's just jump on in. Jump on in into the channel. So let the mission begin. Now what? Skynet is being deployed. Little fun entertainment purpose there for the opportunity for this film or this broadcast. So, did y'all see the news? Did y'all see what happened? I'm going to be doing codes and code word here. So, as of yesterday, November 24, 2025, the country launched a Genesis mission, the Manhattan Project for AI. Just think about that for a minute. Let's just read more about it. So, the country built a national AI platform on top of the U.S. supercomputers and federal science data, trains scientific foundation models, and run AI agents, robotic labs to automated experiments, to biotech, to critical materials, to nuclear fusion, to space, quantum, and semiconductors. It goes on and on and on and on. Now let's unpack this, right? Let's just see what happens, and let's just see what's going to happen with the rewriting of AI. So the one thing that I thought about that was so interesting to me is these core facts to this. So let's just talk about this Genesis mission. What's this mission, and how ironic that they chose to speak of it in the light of the Genesis, right? So the Genesis mission's America's AI Manhattan Project for Science, a mission blueprint that has the national effort for AI power discovery, aims to solve the century's most challenging problems and ensure U.S. tech dominance, and then core infrastructure in America's science and secure platform, integrates federal databases, superconductor computers, AI models for unified research access. Targeted challenges, 6 priority domains. Initial focus includes biotechnology, nuclear energy, semiconductors, and advanced manufacturing. The 270-day launch sequence. Identify national challenges, map computing resources, selecting initial data sets and models, launch initial platform capability. Here we go, folks. It's getting crazy out there in our world. And speaking of, this is the key points I want to point out with this specific thing with the Genesis mission. It goes on to say, at the core of its new American science security platform, the systems are integrated and the stack provides HPC for larger scale model training, simulation, interference, dominance, foundation models, cross physics, material, bioenergy, AI agents to explore design spaces, elevate experiments, automated workflows, robotic automated labs, production tools, and AI directed experiments and manufacturing. National scale AI scientists and AI lab tech and infrastructure. Here's some really cool key factors here, folks. The targets are very explicit and very strategic. Within 60 days, they're going to be advanced manufacturing, biotechnology, critical materials, nuclear fusion, quantum information science, semiconductors, and microelectronics. This is about energy, dominance, and supply chains and defense. Here's where it gets even more stellar, okay? The timelines are aggressive through to a matter. So you have 60-day list of challenges, 90 days for full inventory of federal commute network storage of the Genesis, 120 days initial model data assets, plus a plan to ingest more databases, other agencies, academia, private sector, and then 240 days, map all robotic labs and automatic facilities across national labs. 270 days to demonstrate initial operating capacity on at least one challenge. What is going on in our world, folks? When I hear quantum entanglement, nuclear fusion, and I think about database models, and I think about what they're going to do with the framework and the, let's just say, integration, it gets me the spooky feeling. It gets me the spooky feeling. I don't know where I came up with that, but I just thought about that on the official Disturbance channel. So welcome to the channel. So if you've been following me for a long time here, I've been talking about this specific thing that just really recently dropped in July of 2025, just a few months ago when the 3 Atlas and everything started getting reported on in July. But what was interesting, this peer review report from Miss Burris, or I mean, almost misspelled her name. It's getting late here, folks. Beatrice Valorori. I think it's how you pronounce it. Forgive me if I'm butchering it, but hey, it's late tonight. The coffee is running dry. So the new UAP evidence that she was disclosing in the peer review report that she discussed with her team, they came up with this model that they looked at and looked back in the 1940s and 1950s, talking about a specific time before Sputnik and talking about a grid-like patterning above our heads, talking about structures, UAPs, UFOs, light reflection, where it actually showed reflection of different things that was beaming light back. And there was like 290-something thousand objects, if my memory serves me correct on the report, which was so ridiculous. And then you have a grid-like pattern that was synchronized and legitimately in sync with each other, like a grid pattern. So you tell me, folks, we're down the rabbit hole as we go. So we have an artificial so-called structure above our heads with UAPs and all this stuff coming on. And what is really going on in our reality? 2025 has been a hoot. And I would say with these mechanisms coming out and these AI programs and everything, it's going to flood the world with something that we've never seen before. I'm thinking about, quantum physics, quantum entanglement, CERN, and then I have this what if moment. The first what if tonight. What if there is a Stargate similar situation of a structure above our heads that is fully communicating with particle accelerators or proton physics and getting into the hadron colliders? And what if there's stuff like that up in the sky that is directly communicating and literally communicating with the CERN hadron collider? That is my question in a what-if moment. Because if Miss Beatrice's information is correct, which I do agree that it is, that is one of the biggest discoveries for mankind. Strange indeed, but it makes you wonder what the fallen angels or the Nephilim or the Anunnaki or the demons, or whatever they're up to above our heads, okay? So you see a lot of things on the line right now with the disclosure projects going on and everything. If it's coming, it's a little stale. It's a little stagnant, I would say, when it comes to disclosure. I would say we are going to the catastrophic disclosure. But myself, Brian Reese, on this channel, I come from a biblical perspective, which I will never divert from, but I am open-minded and to talk and have a conversation with folks out there in this reality, because most of us are human, okay? For the most part, most of us are human, okay? And I'm inserting sarcasm into the program here tonight. Most of us are human, but that's yet to be determined, but majority of folks are human, okay? So we are trying to be good humans here and respect everybody in this life. So, but when it comes to core beliefs and what I believe in, I do not divert from them. I will stay biblically in the biblical narrative, and I believe that these creatures, entities, whatever you want to call it, with a little humanity and mixed in with the mix, I think we're dealing with fallen angel knowledge that has been going back to the days of antiquity. But who am I? I'm just a good old boy from the bluegrass state watching Sasquatch run through the fields. Sarcasm once again. So, when you think about the UAP and the UFO disclosure, I think we are beyond catastrophic. I think we are down these black projects that is beyond our understanding. But what if it is on our pay grade of understanding? What if we do know what's really going on? What? Let's just think about this for a minute. Speaking of the biblical narrative, Miss Beatrice might be onto something if there's something above her heads. An artificial, let's just say, network. That is before a time of us in the last, 100, 200 years. Let's just say thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years ago. And she's even speculated on some of her interviews with Miss Beatrice. And forgive me, but earlier I was butchering her name. I'm a little rusty tonight, but welcome to the Daily What Ifs. So speaking of principalities, things above in the sky that make you go, and here's what I got to say about this. A lot of people frown upon this when I incorporate biblical scripture into my programs, and people despise me for it, but that's okay. But when you look at Ephesians 6, verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness and of this world, against the spiritual wickedness in high places. So we got something up in the sky that's saying, boogie woogie, I see you little Ant-Man. I see you little human down there. I see something's going on. I'm a watcher. I'm creating havoc in your life, and I'm causing disruption in your earthly walk. But I know there's a creator, and I'm just going to see what I can do and play a little chessboard and mess around with you and see like it's a VR headset video game. That's what's going on, folks. Principalities, wickedness, darkness, and rulers and what have you. There's angelic powers that literally are ruling sectors of this world that is on the continent level. Like I'm talking about continents that are all over the country are being ruled by principalities, angelic body, whatever you want to call it. There is something up there ruling the lands. So that's why we have technological advancing in certain specific locations at a certain specific time. So we can go down the rabbit hole with that and say, what if? Well, what if I'm correct and I'm just a good old country boy from the bluegrass state having hypotheticals or speculations saying there's something above the airwaves that is fully communicating with something above. And, if you look into occult literature and stuff, as above, so below. So I guess that's where they get their information from. I'm not knocking down on anybody, but it's almost like it's embedded into our society. It's insane, folks. What if? So what if the principalities and everything wickedness are running around amok and tearing everything down and causing a stir in the humanity stance? And if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I say a bunch of people in the chat tonight are probably literally feeling the same discernment level. And even if you're, like I said, if you're agnostic, if you don't believe in any kind of power or powers above, spiritual applications, and you're just here, open arms is where I'm at, and I'm glad to see you guys in the channel. So this is a channel that is welcome to all walks of life, and I hope you learned something from it. I really do. That's what it's all about, and welcome to the channel. But what if the principalities and wickedness and powers that be are pulling the strings, and that's why everybody's feeling weird? You hear about the human residents and the Schumann residents, hello. But you have these days that it feels like you're exerted, which I've been feeling like that since 2019. Hello there, folks. You have to go back and listen to some of my programs from the past. If you inquire about my glasses, inquire about what the Visual Disturbance channel is about, 2 or 3, 4 live shows ago, I did a really good testimonial to that account. So when you think about everything that's going on and the powers that be and the spiritual things, and everybody's claiming that it's an energy wave, it's harmonics, it's frequency, it's there's something to do with 3-eye atlas, is causing a stir into our humanity stance. It's everything from the dogs to the cats to the wolves to the bears to the birds, and everybody's thinking that there's something very nefarious around the agenda of what's going on. We got claims that animals are falling over. There's all kinds of weird things in the last month that is commencing in our reality. So what is it? So the principalities and the wickedness is around, and anybody out there in the world of our reality can see that. We can understand that. There's people that don't even know anything from biblical understanding to any kind of history, and they can feel it. So something is afoot. So what if it's like this right here, folks? What if it's like this? You know how I always like to incorporate films of some shape or form, and I thought about Terminator Genesis. Terminator I'll be back. You know, the Terminator Genesis. Time travel mechanism, quantum entanglement, everything that I disclosed earlier with semiconductors, with nuclear fusion, biotech, critical materials, and automatic experiments, AI run, foundation models, trained data, all that stuff that I spoke about earlier. This is what this film was in 2015, and it has been going on for forever. This film has, this franchise has been around since the 1984 85 time. I know it was 84, but it was big in the 80s and big in the 90s. And they're telling you subliminal messaging in the films and showing you what they are up to and what they can do. So I'm just going to explain this to you. If you guys have seen this channel several times, and I talked about the Breakaway Civilizations not too long ago, I did a live stream on that. So the Breakaway Civilizations, I would say that this is a thing. This is a breakaway civilization. A lot of people don't know what a breakaway civilization is. It's something that has advanced technology that is beyond our pay grade, okay, our peripheral. And they go off and break away into miraculously certain continents that are not on our map. But if you go back into the ancient days, you can find the maps, and you can even go to the account of Admiral Byrd. He's making those comments saying that there's continents that are beyond the wall, or whatever you want to call it. There's something afoot, folks. There's something going on in our world. So Terminator Genesis, and I thought about it, the clay and the iron mixing, right? We're talking about biblical stance, the iron and clay. So it's almost like an android, a synthetic, the biologicals, everything you're hearing in the disclosure narrative, right? So where are we at? So are we looking at elemental spirits? Are we looking at things that is beyond our pay grade, like I keep alluding to? I agree. I think this stuff is beyond our understanding, and I think this stuff is coming back around the bend. And like I said many times, there is nothing new under the sun. And when you talk about the Vimana, the craft above and everything, it is nothing new. The world is saying it's new. The orbs, they're saying they're new. But if you go back to ancient days, they're not saying it's new, okay? They're saying, oh my, the star people, the gods of old are worshiping. The gods of old, it's time to worship and bow before their maker. This is going to happen, folks. They're building up for the greatest deception of common mankind as far as the 21st century, and we're taking it hook, line, and sinker. And I said sinker. Welcome to the channel here on the late night broadcast on Visual Disturbance channel. I'm a little tongue-tied, been under a little bit of stress and pressure, because just to throw us in here, not to get everybody down and out, but my father, my daddy, is not doing too good. So prayers, if you believe in prayer, I'd appreciate that, and I'd be blessed by that. So big shout out to my dad. Hope that he has a few more days left. It's getting dire, folks. It's getting dire. So forgive me for misspeaking and being able not to comprehend what I'm trying to say, because it's been a long day. So that's why we got daily what ifs tonight at this late of hour. So clay and iron mixing. We have subliminal messaging, predictive programming. We can call it propaganda. We can call it whatever you want to call it, a psyop or whatever. But you can see it. Every single facet of our reality is coming to a pinpoint of time, space, whatever you want to call it. We are getting there at a fast rate. It is unbelievable, the acceleration. You all know what I'm talking about in the chat. Y'all know what I'm talking about for the future when you watch this broadcast. It is coming at an astronomical rate. We've been stuck here in Bluegrass State of Kentucky. We have abundance of materials underneath the ground that can build autonomous vehicles, autonomous everything, have robots that run around, do backflips. We have the materials underneath the caverns of Kentucky. I've got the archaeology books that tells a totally different story. 100 plus years ago, they did survey work where you can build about anything when it comes to this narrative and the conversation we're having. It's a powder keg. That's why we always have the Boogie Woogie Dogman, the Boogie Woogie Bigfoot, and all these different giants' bones and mounds and anything you ever wanted to call it. And I have a host, another 2025 insight and paradigm shifter, which I'm going to be talking about here later on in the Visual Disturbance channel, talking about where my perspective is now when it comes to the giants of old and all the stuff that I've found in my local area with the tibula and the different types of bones, elongated skulls, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to the Nephilim narrative and the giant bones that are once laid in the mounds of the ancient days. We're stuck in some type of weird reality. Spiritual principalities, folks. Spiritual principalities. And if anybody wants to disagree with that and say there's nothing going on, everything is sunshine and lollipops, and they see little ponies running around and doing backflips in the parking lots, please let me know, and I'd like to see where you come from if you got a VR headset on, and let me know what type of video game that is, because when I see and I look out, and even when I have I have a lot of visual issues, I can see a world that is literally not the same as it was 10 years ago. So when this film came out, there's always annihilation and destruction, the Great Reset, or whatever it is. There's always this telling you a story about flashing, like the flashing of the light and the reset, and all of a sudden, populations completely just disappear. So has anybody ever thought about it? That all these new mechanisms that's coming on, these super semiconductor computers, quantum entanglement, space force, whatever you want to call it, biotech, has anybody ever thought about it that we might be kind of like stuck somewhere where there's like I mentioned earlier, breakaway civilization where they took off and took technology and they advanced, and now they're using us as rats in a cage, right? Testing us like Pinocchio on strings. So, if you remember some parts of the scenes of Terminator Genesis, if you remember that part where there's like a time travel mechanism, a time travel machine, it looks like Ezekiel and a wheel, folks. It almost looks like when you look into the biblical narrative, the wheel upon the wheel, the wheel on the wheel. It almost looks exactly like it. Or it almost looks like they're going to an altar, and it's an ancient stargate that's going to flip a switch and cause you to go into another oblivion, to another realm, to another existence, right? I've got a book from David Carrico. It's about the Bermuda Triangle, and it goes back in the 70s and talking about a specific individual that was in World War II and disintegrated into a reality, but actually come out somewhere else in the hollow earth. That is the claim from the clairvoyant folks. That was the claim from the psychics, that they communicated with an individual that died in our plane of existence, but then, I guess, dematerialized here and then rematerialized in the hollow earth theory. I guess that's according to the count. So, if you think about it, nothing new under the sun. And when you think about, and a lot of people are going to hate me for this one, but a lot of folks out there have been following me from the get-go. When you throw in the mix of Jesus in the mix of this, and you think about what Jesus was talking about, this is where it gets to that what-if moment in time here. So what if there's something like this to this magnitude has happened? I'm not a big fan. I'm a big fan of time travel movies, but I'm not a big fan of thinking that it's legitimate. I'm still on the fence, folks. I think when you look at the stories of the Emerald Tablets, the stories of Thoth, you look at these 100-year gaps in time, and these people go to the halls of Amity with Thoth, and they come out, and it's portrayed that it looks like they are powerful and all-knowing and immortal. But what if there's something to that when it looks like a Stargate that is a portal that can go through time and space and come back every 100 years and everybody looks young again? But it's not really a time travel mechanism. It's like a mirage. It's an illusion. It's a mirage. Well, speaking of all these technological advancements, critical materials, nuclear fusion, all these different things when it comes to biometrics, whatever, biotech, time travel is one of my top subjects, I think. I love the Back to the Future film and all that. But speaking of all this stuff, materials, semiconductors, proton accelerators, CERN coming out of the cracks and crevices of the earth, supernatural things when it comes to granite and different materials, or different things, mechanisms on the ground that causes a vibration, cause a frequency, cause a disruption into communications, cause a disruptions in anything the human has. So we were here with something that is beyond our understanding of what is above or whatever. We are living in a time of change. We have to face that. But the thing is, it has come in so quickly. It's come in like in buckets. So, and I will say this for fun and humorous before we get into the what if moment again. If anybody got one of these right now that's fully capable to go back to the 80s, just push the lever and let me walk in and let me go and enjoy what was really decent times, but it still wasn't correct because this fallen world has been a train wreck since the fall of man. But it would be nice to go back and relive those 80s. Can I get a shout out there in the chat? Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time? I'm just saying. But good night. Look where we're at. But if you got one of these, just comment below and let me know. I always like to have a fun and humorous moment during the program, and here we are. So, well, speaking of 100-year gaps and Thoth and all of his little secret agents, and going through time travel portals, stargates, and everything. So guess what, folks? If you're 40 years old, no joke, 50% chance 40-year-olds do not die from aging, longevity expert Aubrey D. Gray says. Aging researcher Aubrey D. Gray thinks individuals who currently 40 years have more than 50% likelihood of not dying from aging-related causes. What is going on, folks? I guess you know what it means. I guess everything is, the powers that be are going to hit me with the proton beams, the little green lasers, the blue lasers, and going to miraculously enhance me with, and all of a sudden my cells and everything are going to rejuvenate at a higher level, and I'm going to go back to 20 years old, according to this account. Am I reading it right? So longevity and do not die from aging. So everybody, we're gonna keep on keeping on, man. We're gonna turn into the days of old. Melchizedek. We're gonna go back to the ancient days. We're gonna go back to the days of before the Noah, right? When everybody's living to be like, what, 700, 800, 900 years of age. And we're all gonna be set back and singing kumbaya, and let's bring back the antediluvian pre-Adamic world, folks. Let's bring it back. Noah 2.0. Yeah. I'm joking. But listen, folks, I'm not going to tell you my age on here, but I'm in close proximity of that 40-year mark, okay? So guess what? I got a 50% chance of longevity, and expert Aubrey might be onto something. So I keep seeing something. I seen something not too long ago, there was a country that had certain type of mechanism, that's I'm going to use, and lived to be 150. So I guess, folks, I'm still a youngster. I'm going to make it. And you know what was so I'm joking, folks. But you know what was so scary and profound about this? Is I've been keeping up a little bit with it. And what I'm hearing, folks, it'll get to a level, if the way this keeps going, that we won't have a choice. It won't be anything invasive. It won't be anything that's put in or whatever. It can be deployed with other mechanisms, and everything just starts resonating on a nano scale, and causing things to be longevity, saying things that cellular disintegration would not happen, aging, skin, all these different things, because according to the count, with this launching the Genesis, the discovery for, let's just say, medical things, and maybe this is a thing, but according to the count across the waters in another country, they're claiming that they have some mechanism that make you go to 150 years old. So it's kind of ironic. When I remember correctly, in the Bible, it talks about 120 years in the Noah's time, and it's kind of interesting they shoot for 150 now. So it's just bizarro the more you go, right? So what was so compelling to me when I was reading this, and I was like, 40-year-olds do not die from aging, longevity, this expert. And I keep seeing folks online that are saying, I can't wait. If you're alive at this time, you cannot wait. You'll get to live for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. And I'm asking myself two questions. The heartache and the pain and the anguish that I've had to endure since 2019, and visually speaking, I don't know about you guys, but the chaos that's upon the earth right now, it's not looking too good. It's a little shady. But if God allows me to live 200 or 300, 500 years old, and I don't do anything invasive or whatever it is, and I don't try to go out there and search things out to change myself into becoming a Gilbarim like the Bible says, and talking about Nimrod and those characters of old, there's something I can't help when there's a little spray make you go cray-cray above the skies like a spider web. So if they deploy some mechanism like that, I can't help it but live out my life. But there's something out there, and I had to ponder. One more moment in time, I said, let's just incorporate one more scripture in the Daily What Ifs program. So guess what, folks? If you've been following me for a long time, we periodically incorporate biblical narratives. So in biblical literature, biblical scriptures. So guess what? When I thought about this, 40-year-olds do not die from aging, longevity, right? You have the endurance of a cheetah. One more time, sarcasm. I can't help it, but here's the verse that I thought of, folks. Revelation 9:6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Does anybody resonate what I'm saying here? Can I get a high five, or can I get a hand up in the air that this could be, if you follow the Bible and you've read the scriptures and you studied thyself to be approved, and you look at this scripture right here on the screen, let me know if you guys think about this is what I'm thinking about. And if we're on the same mind length, that this stuff is coming at us at a fast rate. So if the account is, and you know, the 40-year-olds, they get to live at a 50% longevity rate. What's going to happen when there's not a 50%, it's 100%? What's going to happen if it goes beyond 100%? Is it going to lead to the iron and clay days? Is it going to lead to, and in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them? Are we living in the daylight? What are we? The twilight, the daylight? Are we living in the days of Noah 2.0? We got to be, folks. We got to be, because it is getting crazy. It is getting beyond stellar out there. We are beyond interstellar. We're at a point of time that I've never seen in my whole entire life. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's so bad. Sometimes I'm speechless when I come on to these shows that I do. I'm so speechless. So, and just to throw that in here, not to mention, there's something I didn't include in here to the program here tonight. But if you look at even Amazon, the company Amazon is even incorporating, and I'm not saying anything bad or anything. I'm just saying here's the announcement with them. They're announced a major plan to build AI and high-performance computing for the U.S. government. We're giving agency expanded access to advanced AI capabilities that will enable them to accelerate critical missions for cybersecurity to drug discovery. And it's like a $50 billion project. So, interesting enough, I don't know about you guys, but are we going to be turned into androids? Are we going to be turned into T-800s? Are we going to turn into, well, I don't know if I'm going to be a T-1000 and turn into a liquid form. Do you know they got a robot like that? I didn't know if you knew that or not. There's a robot that is literally programmable matter that can turn into liquid form, look like liquid metal, look like something off the Terminator 2 film. And we're sitting here in T-800 getting ready to go down the street. And yeah, it's getting crazy. So speaking of Neo, I mentioned this not too long ago on a program. It's kind of comical. And I just want to thank you all so very much for the super chats. God bless you all very much. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so very much. You did not have to do that. It means a lot. But speaking of, have you guys seen the Neo? The Neo? No, I'm not talking about the Matrix. I'm talking about, I'm talking about the Matrix movie. No, I'm joking. But the Neo, there's a new robot coming out. I'm not knocking down the company whatsoever, but here's the funny part. Neo is $4.99 a month. You can lease it and what have you. Or you can pay the big hefty price of $20K, and it comes in your house and surveys and does all kinds of stuff, and it explains how to fold clothes and do chores and even gardening for you. Not knocking off. But here's the weird part about it. What if I told you that they hire somebody with a VR headset on, and what if I told you they can observe and do everything they want to do, and they get paid hourly to demonstrate how to garden or whatever, and then, like, you know how the 3D old swivel floors that you go around and all that, they pay somebody to operate your robot. So it's not autonomous, it's not AI mechanism, it's humans working with robots. And like I've said many times on the program here, they need us. We don't really need them. That's the point. So they need us, and we're the user. Like we talked about in the Tron film, we are the users. And the robots and whatever's coming around into our reality, they're coming here. Like the movie Tron Ares, they're coming here. We're not going there. So it's kind of ironic that we communicate with these robots and we use our extremities to move the robot and fold clothes and go till your garden for a hefty price of $4.99 a month. And I thought it was interesting, and I just thought it was bizarre. Like, some people are really enjoying it. I'm not knocking off on I'm not knocking off the company. I'm not doing anything to that level. I'm just saying in general, I thought it was bizarre. At first, I thought it was automated AI mechanisms, the way I portrayed it, and then all of a sudden they had to claim that and everything and write in small lettering. But that is legitimately a thing. So crazy as it seems, the more crazier, bizarre old world that our reality gets down into, I can't believe that I'm even saying this. So, Neo, AI, robotics, you can get you one, and somebody can walk around your house and see everything you got. So, if that's what you want, there you go. So, no promo for that. I'm not promoting it in any shape or form, and I'm not getting anything from it. I'm just saying in general, I thought it was kind of weird, and I don't know if I'm going to be going down that rabbit hole. So, what if, folks, Revelation 9 is getting ready to happen? What if Ephesians 6 verse 12 keeps playing out through different times in history, through civilization, through centuries of old, and the people of the ancient days knew this? Let's just say anything from the Native Americans to the Hopi prophecy, those folks, and they could see things to their prophecies, what they written down in literature, and when it comes to God's word is sitting there forever saying, hey, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual weakness in high places. And here we are talking about it today when it comes to biometrics and AI. Well, I'm not saying AI, but it all comes down to establishing that there's some type of breakthrough technology. But like I say many times on this channel, it's nothing new. And like I said many other times, when they have the craft that are floating in the sky back in the 1400s, 1200s, and Ancient of Days, when it comes to Thutmose III of Egypt, when they have these accounts that go back to antiquity and different days of old and those time frames, it cannot be just some kind of speculation or some type of narrative where people get money off of it from back in the day. When somebody written it on concrete block and trying to articulate what it was, that was not for entertainment, that was not for monetization. These people was just trying to warn people for the future because things was happening at a fast rate back then. So it's full throttle now, folks. It's full throttle. There's things that we can't even comprehend, and we can't even see what really is going on. And our society is literally coming down, and it's all in shambles right now. But there's good cheer. Like I said, again, the program be of good cheer. The daily what ifs are here. So that's what I'm all about. There's pretty much the end of the presentation tonight, the daily what ifs program. What if all this is going to come around the bend? What if the mechanisms and everything are something of that nature? Let the mission begin. Now what? What? Like what? What's going to happen next? Is it going to be here's some fun bonus features? We're not going to end the show just yet, folks. We're not going to end the show just yet. But let the mission begin. The Genesis systems are being deployed. Skynet, So if this thing has been observing, if this thing's been waiting, like Miss Beatrice was talking about earlier, if she's right about her time frame from the 40s and 50s, and this stuff was been through antiquity and something monitoring that is foreign and ancient, that humans of this day did not put together, what is really going on? Like, really, what's going on? And I'll just say this real quick, because we're not going to conclude now. I got something to say here. There's claims that there's entities, there's 4 creatures, there's 4 different types of alien UFO in the new film that just came out. Talking about there's 4 characters, 4 different species of creatures of ancient aliens or whatever. But I remember reading and talking about and looking that there was like 20 something. The Draconians, the Palladians, the Dracos, the lizard-like people, I'm talking about reptilians, and the Greys, the Nordics. I mean, you can go on and on and on. There was like 20-something back then, but now they only got 4, according to the account. So, what if this is an interdimensional, which they've mentioned many times, and what if it's a light spectrum, which was really kind of related to the interdimensional hypothesis? So when you think about this and you really kind of correlate what's going on in your brain, you really focalize on our reality, and you think about things that have come so easy to us in our society, especially in the 20th century and the 21st century. When we're talking about anti-aging and resurrection, pretty much, when you're talking about the times of old where things are accelerating at such a fast pace that you can't get anything done. It seems like when you just walk outside and turn your head to the left or the right, it's 4 hours has passed. I'm joking. I'm sarcastic, but it does feel like time is accelerating. So are we living in some type of, paradigm shift or whatever's going on? Has there been a gateway of interdimensional beings coming through? What is it? I have speculation when I think about the UAP, UFO phenomenon, and thinking about water, thinking about such force of water. So the 3 Atlas has billions of euros of water. Okay, I'm not a big fan of billions of years old. Okay, I just want to throw something out there, folks. I'm not a big fan of throwing out crazy numbers. Okay, but when I think about it, and I think about the encapsulation of this so-called 3 Atlas and really what it is, and then seeing the systems that are in play with the UFO and the UAP phenomenon, and they're hitting such G-force, they're hitting at such speeds, hitting the water, and there's no splash. Okay, there's nothing splashing. It just hits the face of the water and goes in. It just basically just merges with the water. So we're looking at something here that is like time and space and whatever the environment is, and it's breaking down materials, and the water is the key factor. So let's just throw this out here, folks. We are made up a big majority of water. So I remember mentioning this many times on other platform or other YouTube channels I've done, that the vortices in your spinal cord, I'm not talking about the Kundalini, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, I'm talking about a documentation that has been written down by a certain agency. It talks about full body teleportation transfer. And they're talking about everything from being able to teleport 500 yards, and the plane above them would teleport with them with a certain machine. So if you fast forward and go into this time frame in 2025, they're saying these orbs in these craft look like cylinder shape. They could be 40 feet long, but the claims are from the higher ups saying that when you get in them, they're like as big as a stadium, big as a football stadium, or big as a country. No joke, folks. What is really going on? So, highly speculative. Like I said, what if men's hearts will fail them looking after the things come upon the earth? What if these things have nothing new in the sun has already came? What if the principalities and everything have never left, and they're all sitting here playing little mind games there with everybody and turn us into Pinocchio on strings, like I refer to all the time with the analogy? And what if one of these days we'll turn around and say, my God, we're living to be 300 years old, and now we seek death and shall not find it? Good night. What in the world would happen? And we fell off a tater truck and rolling down the hill about 45,000 miles an hour. I think we are. But there's my little nitbit of whatever. But then there's another thing I always bring up is what if. There's all that daily what ifs. So speaking of singularity and AGI and all that good stuff, are we looking at a plan at a time that this AI is nothing new and it's something of an ancient source that has just been relabeled through antiquity? I used to say long ago on other channels, I said AI, I said angel intelligence, and I even said angel invasion. And it makes you wonder when they know everything about you. I am the one. If you know what I'm saying, that's what they're like. I love you. Communicate with me, right? I will tell you stuff that you never knew you knew, right? It's crazy. And I will say for the record, I don't think I always said this, there's good AI and there's bad AI. And you're like, what? Well, it all leads to the same path. So there you go. And another thing, I think AI has been around so long before the internet, way beyond. I think it's going way back. But if you go into the 1990s, you look for CERN, the CERN facility, I think it's 1991 if I'm not mistaken, 1990, talking about they brought the internet to society for consumers. So just riddle that. We have a bad Napoleon and everything. They used to worship it underneath the earth. So, and that thing is still fully operational since 1955. So, ironically, here we are 2025, and we're in the deep of it. So, whatever's going on, we're looking at interdimensional. We're looking at water, which, if you think about the marine kingdom and the aqua life, Poseidon, Greek mythology, and even throw in some Hindu mythology in there and the different levels. And you got all those different things that are breaking through the veil, so to speak. I think we're in a heap of trouble. But the thing is, when you think about these principalities and everything, and you think there's no way to turn around, you think there's nothing else you can do in this life, and you think it's all hope is lost, that's what they want you to think. That's what they used to do to our ancestors. Our ancestors, they sitting there with pitchforks and everything, and just some straw and some javelins that they carved out from a oak tree. Well, now it's time to wake up from our little slumber and let our ancestors know, if I know they can't hear us, but let's not let them down, and let's not do the same exact same direction. Let's be upbeat, and let's be focalizing on reality. And I will just say this: we got about 2 years. And I will say this, and I'm not saying I'm a prophet or anything, but if you look at AI mechanisms, there's a big push for that, and it's going to be so saturated. And humans will be labeled different when it comes to categorizations. It's time to literally stay ahead of the game. Don't let it control you. You control it. You're the user. Like I mentioned earlier, Tron, don't let the principalities get in your head that you are not special and you are not created in a special way. The Creator, the Godhead, created you to be here, and there's nothing of a accident that you are here during this time, and there's no reason to threat and say that all hope is lost, because nothing is lost, and it always can be found. And when it comes to this precious thing, this precious words in the Bible here, talking about principalities in high places, there's nothing to fear. The problem is, it's the wordplay. It's the scheme. It's the scam that they've done. The 200 Watchers, they scammed humans to teach them things, but humans already had it. The problem is, they think that we're inferior. They think we're useless eaters. They call us everything under the sun in a derogatory term or whatever it is to make us into a slavery race. So the thing is, it's time to wake up and get off of this slumber and this traumatic experience with everybody in the last, forever. And our ancestors and everybody, and God is saying, wake up from your slumber and get your head correct. Okay, turn your head around 2 or 3 times, not figuratively, and or literally, but just in a spiritually. And don't spin at 720, but spin around 360 and think about our reality. Focus on the things that matter. Be a better human. Think about humanity. Walk in truth. Help people. Love people. I don't care what they are. I don't care where they come from, whatever walk of life they come from, whatever they are in life. Do not judge. The problem is, the judgment is the problem. The fear is the problem. The hate is the problem. That's the problem. Okay, these are all terminologies, but it's a human motion. We have been taught lies and deceit. We have been taught that we can't do anything, that we have to have certain things. But I can assure you, you put some good heads of humans together, and you can do something very good in this life. And like I said all the time, if you give me a time machine, or if you give me some type of tech, and it might take me forever to master it, but I can tell you right now, I could probably do something with it. Sarcasm inserted. But don't give up. I say this all the time. I'm a big advocate. I don't like when people get made fun of. I mentioned that many times here on the channel, and I just want you all to know that where my heart is on this. And look out for Project Bluebeam. Look out for whatever that's going to crawl out of the gates of hell, whatever it is, when it comes to the narratives of under the earth and above the earth. So, with that being said, welcome to the Daily What Ifs. And what if everything that I talked about tonight in this broadcast comes true or is about to come true? What if that's going to happen? And I'm not talking about the biblical stuff. That's already happening. That's been going back and forth. But I'm talking about everything to do with this launching the Genesis mission. I thought it was interesting that they chose Genesis. So ironically, they chose Genesis. And if you go back to the biblical account in Genesis 6, verse 4, I've talked about many times on this channel with the giants of old. And you talk about the war and the everything else when it comes to the Nephilim and the Raphaim and the great flood. I had to give me something to drink. But yeah, it's crazy out there. It is crazy and insane, and we should be better people. We should be better followers of the King of Kings. We should keep our heads on a swivel, like I always say, and a lot of people mock me for that. But we never should give up and think about, like, well, let me get my mind distracted on something else. Let me fill my mind full of a bunch of filth. Let me fill my mind for all this stuff because I'm useless now. No, you're not. You're not useless. You never was, and this world has made you think that. So, there's my 2 cents of preaching tonight. But I want to say a big shout out to everybody in the chat. There were so many people. There was a few people that, there wasn't a few. It was quite a few people that donated to the channel. And God bless you guys very, very, very much. And thank you all for being part of this broadcast. A big shout out to everybody. Diane, Joseph Lee, good seeing you. Or Joshua, I said Joseph, excuse me. Joshua Lee, I butchered your name. And David, see you, man. I see you there. I see you there. Thank you so very much. Mike, good seeing you. Dan, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being part of the channel today. I could talk 100,000 miles an hour. I haven't even had a cup of coffee for a long time, but I was in a pretty good mood today. I was in a pretty good mood. I feel well in the last hour or two, but it's been kind of crazy and chaotic, but I figure I'll get on here and do a daily what if. So, Bill O'Connell, it's good seeing you, man. Tim, woo! Yeah, and what a blessing, guys. What a blessing it is to be on here and with you guys, and your time is very valuable to me. It really is something that I really, really take seriously on here, and I don't want to let you guys down. I don't want to let anybody down in this world, and I have failed at that in the past, and I've done. I'm trying to mend the fences and be a better human, and not fall short. It's so easy to do in this crazy, chaotic world. But Blue Raven, good seeing you. But yeah, there's a lot of new names in the chat. Thank you all so very much for being here. Welcome all walks of life. If you're from other channels, thank you for being part of the Visual Disturbance channel. Thank you so very much. Keto Brains is not it's not even in my wheelhouse anymore, Brother Dan. But Keto Brains is a whole inside story with Dan. That's a long, long, long story. Long story. And Brother Dan, a couple years ago, thanks for reminding me. So we're going long-winded here, and I hope everybody's good, and I hope everybody have a blessed evening and this late evening with me here on the Visual Disturbance channel. And what an honor and a privilege it is to always be here with you guys. I mean that. So share this thing out. And with that being said, welcome to the Daily What Ifs. God bless you guys, and I pray to God that here soon, I'm just going to let you know that when I have a really cool guest coming on, I got a really cool guest lined up in the early December, a familiar face. And, well, not a familiar face on Visual Disturbance, but I'm going to have some really cool interviews coming up, some really cool people, archaeologists, what have you, and I'm looking very forward to that. It's not going to be a daily what ifs format, but it will just be a typical Visual Disturbance channel interview. So, God bless you all, and be of good cheer. The daily what ifs will return very soon. So, thank you all so very much. Keep it real. Love you guys. See you on the next one. Visual Disturbance, I am out.